Welcome to another deep dive here at Kecia's Tour Life. I'm Shane.
And I'm Erica. Always great to jump into Kecia's latest adventures, exploring music and travel.
Absolutely. And today we're looking at something from Indianapolis back on October 6th, 2024.
Oh, yeah. What happened there?
Well, it sounds like Kecia's friend, who's apparently a big fan of this guy, talked her into seeing a live show. Someone named MrBallen.
Oh, MrBallen. Right. Okay. I know the name. So a podcast host doing a live thing.
Exactly. Her friend called him a top true crime podcast host. And, well, that was the hook for Kecia.
Makes sense. She loves all that mystery, suspense, even the paranormal stuff.
Right. Plus, get this, it was his first ever tour, called the Strange, Dark, and Mysterious Tour.
Oh, wow. Okay. First tour pressure. That definitely adds a layer of intrigue, doesn't it?
For sure. So yeah, our mission today is really to dig into what made this live storytelling gig so captivating for Kecia.
And maybe give folks listening a taste of what MrBallen's all about based on her experience.
Exactly. So let's start with the venue. The Egyptian Room at Old National Center. Kecia walked in, and whole campsite theme. There was a tent, a flickering fire pit, the whole deal.
Whoa, okay. That immediately paints a picture, doesn't it? Like you're gathering around a campfire for ghost stories.
Yeah, totally. And she mentioned a big backdrop screen, too, which they used to, set the mood.
So visual elements playing a big part. She said it gave her a hauntingly familiar feeling.
Yeah, that phrase stood out. Like you were being invited to hear secrets, something maybe you weren't supposed to know.
Ooh, I like that. That feeling of forbidden knowledge is always compelling, isn't it? Why do you think that is?
It's just primal curiosity, maybe. Wanting to peek behind the curtain. And it sounds like MrBallen himself amplified that feeling.
How so? His stage presence.
Yeah, Kecia's first impression was just, boom, he drew her right in.
Just commanded the stage.
Seems like it. And his storytelling style. She described it as making you feel like he is sharing those secrets.
Yeah.
Dark, unsettling.
But you can't look away.
Exactly. Irresistible, even if it's stuff you're not supposed to know. It's quite a skill.
Definitely. So what about the actual stories? Did she say much about the content?
She did. He shared 5 stories over the evening.
5. Okay. Quite a bit of material.
Yeah. And while they were rooted in true crime, she said they had this edge of mystery, almost touching on the paranormal.
Ah, that blend again. True events, but with that hint of the unexplained, that can be really effective.
Totally. It grounds it, but then adds that extra layer of what if. She mentioned being in silent awe.
Silent awe. That says a lot about his ability to just build that suspense, right?
Yeah.
Hold the room completely still.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It sounds like he's a master at that, letting the tension build, drip-feeding information.
Keeping you hooked until the very end. It's not just what he says, but how he says it, especially live.
Right. You've got the whole atmosphere, the delivery, the pauses.
Yeah. The flickering firelight.
Exactly. All working together. Kecia was super impressed, especially, being her first time seeing him.
And she felt the energy in the room, that shared experience.
Definitely. She mentioned that collective feeling everyone just gripped. And afterwards, there was a Q&A session.
Oh, cool. So a chance to interact a bit more?
Yeah, she felt it allowed for, deeper engagement. Which is nice after sitting through intense stories.
True. It sort of brings you back, lets you connect on a different level.
And the show length, over 2 hours on a Sunday night.
Wow, that's a commitment.
But Kecia said, totally worth the time, worth the money.
That's the real test, isn't it? If you walk away feeling like that.
For sure. Her big takeaway was just that he's a master of suspense, period. Podcast, live show, doesn't matter.
He can translate that skill across platforms, which makes you wonder about the guy himself, who is MrBallen.
Right. Well, his real name is John Allen, and his background is pretty intense.
Oh, yeah.
Former Navy SEAL, and then an FBI agent.
Whoa. Okay, SEAL and FBI. That's quite the resume.
Isn't it? And he's known online as MrBallen for his matter-of-fact style and victim-focused approach.
You can almost see how that background might feed into that style, can't you? The precision, the focus, maybe a certain kind of detachment needed for storytelling.
Yeah, maybe. Dealing with high-stakes situations, intense details. It's bound to shape how you see things, how you recount them.
He also co-founded Ballen Studios, right? And launched the podcast back in 2022.
Yep. So it seems like a very conscious choice to move into this storytelling space using those unique skills and perspectives.
So knowing that background, does it change how you think about Kecia's experience? Does it add another layer to why his storytelling felt so compelling?
I think it has to, right? It adds this layer of authenticity, maybe? Or at least a sense that he's coming at these stories from a perspective very few people have.
Yeah, like he's seen things, understands things, maybe the darker side of human nature, in a way most storytellers haven't.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
it really sounds like Kecia just kind of stumbled onto something pretty special that night.
Going from zero knowledge of the guy to being totally sucked into his world.
Yeah, just completely drawn in by these strange, dark, mysterious tales.
And hey, maybe for you listening, hearing about Kecia's night has sparked some curiosity. Maybe you'll check out the podcast or, if he tours again.
It does show how just taking a chance on something new, something a friend recommends, can lead to these really unexpected, captivating experiences.
Absolutely. And it's just fascinating to think about how someone with a background like John Allen's, SEAL, FBI, how those skills, those life experiences can translate into the art of storytelling, creating something so immersive for an audience.
Definitely gives you something to chew on, how our own paths shaped the way we tell and connect with stories.
For sure. If you want to read more about Kecia's adventures in music, travel, and her take on other live events, you can check out her blog at keciastourlife.com.
And she's also active on social media. You can find her on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. Just search for Kecia's Tour Life.
I think that's about all the time we have for this particular deep dive into Kecia's night with MrBallen.
Indeed it is.
Until next time, keep exploring and take a chance on new experiences.